Shalom. In Bereishit, we read how Hashem created on the fourth day the sun and the moon. That the big light for the control of the day time and the small one to control the night. I have always been fascinated by the fact that sometimes we see the moon during the daytime. It could be 6 o'clock in the morning, could be 10 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock. And also the position where it rises, it also varies a lot. For those of us who are fortunate to live by the ocean, we can see sometimes where there is no buildings to obscure the view, that the position of the moonrise and the moonset varies great deal from one day to the other one. So I wanted to look it up to find out really what control that, I would like to share what I learned with my audience, and with many thanks to them. They say ومن تلميذي يترمي كلام, and this is very, very true, because now I'm acting by default as a teacher. So now the purpose of my talk is to answer a few questions. Number one, what are the moon phases? And this is quite obvious, but it is the cornerstone of understanding the other questions that I would like to address. The second, also I would like to address the timing of the moonrise and moonset. Number three, the directions. Is it from the east, or is it from the north or south? And how often and how much does it vary from day to day? Of course, I'm going to talk about the importance of the moon to the Jewish calendar and to the Jewish practice in general. I would like to talk also about the length of the lunar month. And we do know that some years we have leap years where we have, instead of 12 months, 13 months. What is the biblical origin of that mitzvah? And how do we reconcile the lunar calendar with the solar calendar? So it will not be in that particular order, but we hope that we'll cover all these ideas. So we'll start with moon phases. We do know that there is that in Rosh Chodesh, at the beginning of the lunar month, the moon is not visible, or very, very barely visible. And then as time passes, we start to see the following night, we start to see crescent with the lighting from the right side of the moon. And that crescent will keep on becoming bigger and bigger until after the first week, which is the first quarter of the moon cycle, where we see that the right side is lit and the left side is dark. And then with the upcoming days, we see that the moon, a bigger part of it is becoming lit, and they call that the waxing gibbous. Gibbous, incidentally, is a Latin word for hump. So because it becomes more than the half, so it looks like a hump, that gibbous keep on waxing, becoming bigger until we have a full moon. And after that, when the time passes by, we see that we have waning gibbous until we have the third quarter of the month, where only the left side is lit and the right side is dark. And then we have the waning crescent, and it keeps on becoming smaller and smaller, always from the left side, until it disappears completely. And then we have a complete cycle of the moon. So now, to summarize, when the moon is waxing, which means becoming bigger, it's always lit on the right side and dark on the left. And when it's becoming waning, the left side is illuminated, and the right side is the dark one. So we, in a quick second, we will know that which part of the moon is going on. Of course, for those who do Birkat al-Levana, we will know from other reasons without seeing it even, when it is waxing and when it is waning. Now, the timing of the moonrise, when it is new month, new month, the moonrise is about the same time as the sunrise. So it is in the early morning, and then every day the moon rises about, on the average, 50 minutes later, and it keeps on going this way until when we have full moon. We will see it coming out of the horizon around the time of the sunset. Of course, half an hour before or half an hour later, because those variations are intrinsic to the moon cycle, because of the orbit that is not really full circle. It is elliptical. And also the Earth, when it circles around the Sun, also it takes elliptical way. And then it will become again later and later. So we see moonrise sometimes at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or at midnight. And however, when we have the new moon, which means that it becomes completely dark, it will again, the moonrise will be around the same time as sunrise. It is rather complex because, as I mentioned before, that the circle, the course of how the Earth and the moon goes around, the moon around the Earth and the Earth around the Sun is elliptical. Furthermore, there is an axis where the Earth is tilted by 23.5 degrees, and the moon is also tilted by 5 degrees compared to the Earth. And with that combination, we can see that we cannot. It is difficult to tell. In fact, we are able to tell exactly when the moon rises and from which direction it will happen. However, it is not close to each other like we do it during the sun. Now, the direction for those of us, like for example, when the moon is full, before a little bit, few days before and few days after, where we can see it coming from the east, we can tell that there is big variation by about 25 degrees or even more on the position where the moon rises. That depends on two things. It depends all the time on if you are in the northern or southern hemisphere, for one. Number two, it varies by the season, if it is summer or winter, and spring or autumn. And so now, let's talk about the winter, because we are coming to the winter time. In the new moon, it rises from the southeast, and it sets in the southwest. This is when it is a new moon. However, because of the variation we talked about 25 degrees, when it becomes full moon, it will come from the northeast and it will set on the northwest. So that will answer the second question about the position of where the moon rises and it sets. Furthermore, the duration of when the moon is up also varies quite a bit. Within a month, it can vary from about 8 hours to about close to 13 hours. And that also governed by the course of the axis of the circling around the Earth. Fortunately, there are exact to the split second on computation on when and from where the moon is gonna rise and it will set. Probably the most common one that is used, in fact we use it in the synagogue, is the Department of Navy. They publish this calendar for the next few years, many years on the exact location. However, we need to understand that our rabbis finalized this system many centuries before the Department of Navy, and we'll talk about that now. If it is rather complex, as we can tell from now, however, we should not feel alone, because even Moshe Rabbeinu did have a problem understanding that and determining when to declare a new moon. So now the moon is rather important to the Jewish calendar because with when it Chodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim, this is the absolute first mitzvah that was given to the Jewish people as a nation. When we were in Egypt, the Hashem told us that we that was the first one, and number two, there are all the holidays are controlled by the moon. Like for example, Sukkot, the Pesach are controlled by the moon, and that's why when we say the beracha in those holidays, we say Mekadesh Israel v'hazmanim, or Mekadesh Israel v'rashi hodashim, that he gave the authority to declare the time to the Jewish people. Hashem gave it to the Jewish people. That's why, unlike the Shabbat, we say Mekadesh Shabbat, or if there is Shabbat and holiday, we say Mekadesh Shabbat v'Israel v'hazmanim, in that order. And it is so important that the Greeks, when they were were trying to annihilate the Jewish religion, one of the things that they forbid of doing is Shabbat, Milah, and Rosh Chodesh, because they know that good part of the Jewish practice is related to Rosh Chodesh. And just as important, the Jews, we talked about that in different subject, they are likened to the moon, because we throughout our history we had periods where we had golden ages, and then it was followed precipitously with big catastrophe, like what happened in Spain. The Jews in Europe in the beginning of the 20th century, where we had really good position, and then it deteriorated very quickly. That ultimately ended up with the Holocaust. However, we always get renewed. We have renewal. Hashem blessed us with the ability to be renewed. And that's why in the Birkat Levana, it says Omar شتتحدش, that he asked her to renew herself. that the Jewish people that we will be renewed like the moon. Now, how long is the lunar month? From the one cycle from new moon to new moon is exactly 29 days, 12 hours, 44 minutes, and 3.33 seconds. It was exactly calculated exactly to that point. So now that if we multiply those 29 and 29.53, this is what will come to days by 12, will come up with 354 days and 36.36. More or less it is, let's say 355, which is the gematria of Shana. The Shin is 300, the Nun is 50, and the He is 5, so we have 355. Now, we do know that the solar calendar is 365, and because we have leap year, to make it simple, 365.25 days, 365 and a quarter. So from here we can see that there is 10.9 days difference between the lunar calendar, or the 12 month, the length of 12 months of the moon cycle, and the average and the number of days. So we have here a situation where every year the month will become earlier by about 11 days. We however, there is a point that Hashem told us, Shamorit Chodesh Aviv v'asita Pesach Hashem Elokecha, that the Pesach should always be in the spring. Now, suppose it is, let's say, in the 30th of March, the following day is gonna be the 19th of March. So it's already in the winter, and then the following year, it will be, let's say, for example, 10 days, the 9th of March. So it can rotate, and in fact, this is exactly the situation with Muslims, because like today, like now, they have the month of Muharram. Muharram is the first month in the Muslim calendar. It happened to coincide this year with Tishri, which is the first month of the Hebrew calendar. So now next month Muharram will become 10 days earlier and then earlier, or we can say Ramadan. They have this month. So if we calculate, we can see that every 33 and a half years there will be full cycle for Ramadan, the beginning of Ramadan, that it will move. Here we cannot do that because of the mitzvah that Shamorit Chodesh Aviv. So we can't do that. So the rabbi, they have no choice but to add a leap year. So now, since the time of leap year, now talking about the Jewish calendar, we do know that the Greeks during the Hashmonaim, which is 186 before the Common Era, and then the Roman, they always wanted for us not to practice our religion. The rabbis in the 4th century, specifically Hillel Asheni, who is the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, gathered people that gathered rabbi who have semicha from Moshe Rabbeinu all the way on, and Lemfreya, that he up front he Kadesh Kol HaChodashim until Bi'at HaMashiach. He sanctified the Rosh Chodesh until the Mashiach comes, which is absolute brilliant way of calculating precisely the months. and we have the calendar, this calendar that we follow, like we said, from the end of the 4th century, which means 380, 390 in the Common Era until now. So we are following it for about 1700 years, and it fits perfect. So now, when do we have a leap year? Again, Hillel Hashani, he created a cycle of 19 years. 19 years, if it comes to 6,940 days. And I calculated it that if we have 365.25 times 19, it will come to 669.40, and with the number of months we have in 19 years, we have 235 months lunar, with including the leap years. We come to exactly the same time. There is half a day that is figured out also in the calendar, so there won't be any difference whatsoever until Bi'at Mashiach. So now with the 19-year cycle, we said that there is 6,940 days. We have 7 leap years, and those are in the 3rd, the 6th, the 8th, the 11th, the 14th, the 17th, and the 19th. So we have 7 leap years, and we have 12 simple years. With simple, I mean 12 months. And with that, we figured out, we saw before that it will be exactly the same number of days. Now, the question is that we just started the year 6779. Where in the 19 years cycle we are. I read an article by Dr. Raviv from Bar-Ilan University. I run Raviv. He, according to his calculation, in fact, I was going to go back to line up to create like a page with holes on the 6, on the 3 and 6 and 8 and 11 and 14 and 17 and 19, and to see when it fits. He made it very simple for me, that in the year 6777 was the beginning of the new cycle of the 19 years, and this is the 305 cycle from the beginning of the time that it was established by Hillel Hashani. So we can see from here that I believe that the Hebrew calendar is real calendar. It accommodates. It's not like those who follow the solar system, where there is no accountability for the months, and it's not like a year is 12 months no matter what. We matched and we married and we integrated the lunar and the solar calendar to preserve the Chodesh Aviv. So now we like we said before, that we are likened to the moon. When we had problem during our history, but however every time we can see that there came Teshuvah from place that is different than the previous one. The shape is different than the previous one. The timing is different than the other one. So we look forward to a time when we will have the ultimate Teshuvah, and we will hope that it will come in an easy way very soon, and we will have time we will have הארץ זעת השם כמים לים מכסים. We cannot wait until that. שנה טובה and כל טוב.